Imagine a god so powerful, his voice could summon storms, and his wrath could flood an entire world. A god whose command determined who would live and who would perish, echoing tales you may know from the Bible. This is the story of Enlil, the divine judge and commander whose decisions shaped the fate of humanity. But was he the righteous hand of justice, or the architect of untold destruction? Enlil, the god of air and storms, stood as a towering figure in the Anunnaki Pantheon. Born to Anu, the supreme ruler of the heavens, and Untu, queen of the cosmos, his very essence was tied to the forces of order and command. From his earliest moments, it was clear that Enlil would not be a passive deity. He was destined to be the enforcer, the keeper of balance, and the hand that shaped the destiny of worlds. In the celestial realm, the Anunnaki governed not just themselves but the intricate workings of the cosmos. Enlil's role as a commander was second only to his father, Anu, and he carried the burden of maintaining divine law with an iron will. His mastery over the winds and storms symbolized his authority, a force that could both nurture life and bring swift destruction. It was said that his voice could call forth tempests that swept across the land, reminding all who dared to defy him of his power. Enlil's authority extended far beyond the heavens. On Earth, he presided over the Igigi, the lesser gods tasked with laboring for the Anunnaki's grand designs. These laborers toiled endlessly, extracting resources and building monuments to the gods. But their weariness grew, and with it came discontent. Enlil, in his rigid adherence to order, was unyielding. When the Igigi revolted, refusing to continue their backbreaking work, it was Enlil who enforced the council's decision to create humanity, a race designed to take on the burden of labor. The creation of humanity was a moment of profound significance, one that revealed the stark differences between Enlil and his brother, Enki. Enlil viewed humanity as a tool, a necessary solution to a problem. To him, mortals were not beings to be nurtured but workers to be managed. Enki, on the other hand, saw in humanity the spark of potential, a reflection of the divine creativity that had brought them into existence. This ideological rift between the brothers would grow over time, shaping the course of human history. Enlil's command was absolute, and his word was law. He established a strict hierarchy among humans, ensuring that they knew their place within the grand design. Cities sprang up under his watchful eye, their structures built to honor the gods and serve as centers of labor. Among these were the ziggurats, towering monuments that reached toward the heavens, symbolizing humanity's connection to the divine. Yet, these structures were also a reminder of Enlil's omnipresence, a constant assertion of his authority. Despite his stern demeanor, Enlil was a figure of complexity. He carried the weight of responsibility, knowing that his decisions affected not just the Anunnaki but also the fragile balance of Earth. To the humans who lived under his rule, he was both protector and punisher, a god whose actions were driven by a sense of duty rather than personal ambition. His storms could bring life-giving rain to parched lands, but they could also unleash devastation upon those who defied his will. In the divine council, Enlil's voice was one of reason and discipline. He believed in the necessity of rules and structure, viewing chaos as the ultimate threat to creation. This belief often put him at odds with Enki, whose approach was more lenient and adaptive. Their debates were legendary, echoing through the halls of the council as they clashed over the best course for humanity. For Enlil, the question was always one of balance. How to maintain order without letting humanity overstep its bounds. As humanity grew and flourished, so too did their understanding of Enlil's role in their existence. Myths and stories began to circulate, depicting him as a god of immense power and judgment. Some saw him as a benevolent protector, a deity who ensured the survival of the human race through his strict governance. Others viewed him as a harsh tyrant whose punishments were as severe as his expectations. One of the most intriguing aspects of Enlil's story is his relationship with the natural world. His control over the elements made him a god deeply connected to the earth, yet his focus was always on the grander scheme. He cared little for the individual struggles of mortals, instead viewing humanity as a collective, a workforce bound by the laws of the gods. This detachment, while practical, also made him a figure of fear and awe, a deity who could not be swayed by pleas or prayers. Enlil's story is one of contrasts. He was a god of order, yet his methods often led to chaos. He sought to protect creation, yet his judgments could bring destruction. This duality is what makes him such a compelling figure, a deity whose actions continue to inspire debate and reflection. As the storm clouds gathered on the horizon, humanity stood at the mercy of their divine judge. Enlil's presence was a constant reminder of the power of the gods, and his decisions would shape the course of their destiny. The tale of Enlil is not just the story of a god. It is the story of power, responsibility, and the delicate balance between justice and destruction. Enlil's rule over Earth was not a mere delegation of tasks. It was the execution of divine law, enforced with precision and unshakable authority. From his celestial throne, he surveyed the mortal realm, a world teeming with life, but requiring the hand of a commander to shape it into a reflection of the god's will. As the Anunnaki's enforcer, Enlil wielded immense power, not only over humanity but also over his fellow gods, ensuring that order was preserved. The early days of humanity were marked by Enlil's strict governance. When the Igigi revolted, weary from their endless labor, it was Enlil who proposed a radical solution to the divine council. "Let us create a being to carry the burdens," he declared, his voice echoing through the halls of the council. His words carried the weight of inevitability. The Igigi's rebellion could not go unaddressed. The council agreed, and Enki, with his knowledge of creation, crafted humanity from clay and the divine essence. Yet, for Enlil, this was only the beginning. The humans were not to be equals, nor were they to share in the divine wisdom of the gods. They were workers, tools to fulfill the Anunnaki's needs, and Enlil ensured that they understood their place. Under his command, humanity was assigned tasks to build the infrastructure of civilization, ziggurats, temples, and irrigation systems to sustain both themselves and their divine overseers. These tasks were grueling, but to Enlil, they were necessary. In his role as the commander, Enlil's leadership extended to the Igigi, who remained on Earth to supervise humanity's progress. The Igigi served as intermediaries, relaying Enlil's orders to the mortals and ensuring that his commands were carried out. Yet, tensions remained high. The Igigi, once laborers themselves, empathized with humanity's plight, and whispers of discontent reached Enlil's ears. To him, these murmurings were dangerous, a potential source of chaos that threatened the order he had worked so hard to maintain. To enforce his will, Enlil was unafraid to wield his power. When a group of humans defied their divine overseers, refusing to continue their labor, Enlil unleashed a storm upon their settlement. The winds howled, and the rain fell in torrents, reducing the defiant village to ruins. "Let this be a lesson to those who forget their place," Enlil proclaimed. His actions, though harsh, were a reminder of his role as a god of judgment. He was not a ruler who tolerated insubordination. Despite his severity, Enlil's vision for humanity was not one of pure subjugation. He believed in the necessity of structure and discipline, but he also understood the importance of guidance. Under his rule, the first cities began to emerge, centers of culture and administration that reflected the divine order. Enlil's influence was evident in their design, with ziggurats towering above the settlements as symbols of the god's presence on Earth. These structures served not only as places of worship, but also as a testament to humanity's devotion and their labor for the Anunnaki. The ziggurats were more than monuments. They were instruments of control. From their heights, the Igigi could oversee the mortal realm, ensuring that Enlil's laws were followed. For the humans, the ziggurats were both a source of pride and a constant reminder of their servitude. They toiled under the watchful eyes of the gods, their lives dictated by divine command. Yet, even in their subservience, they found purpose, a sense of belonging within the grand design of creation. Enlil's leadership was not without its challenges. Among the Anunnaki, there were those who questioned his methods. Enki, in particular, often opposed his brother's rigid approach. To Enki, humanity was more than a workforce. They were beings capable of growth, creativity, and understanding. "They are not tools, brother," Enki argued during a heated council meeting. "They are a reflection of us, and they deserve more than this existence." But Enlil was resolute. Reflection or not, they were created to serve. To give them more is to invite chaos. This ideological divide between Enlil and Enki became a defining aspect of their relationship. While Enki sought to uplift humanity, sharing with them knowledge and skills, Enlil remained focused on maintaining order. To him, Enki's actions were reckless, a breach of the divine hierarchy that threatened to disrupt the balance of creation. The council meetings often grew tense, with the two brothers locked in debate over the fate of humanity. Enlil's strictness extended beyond humanity to the natural world. He saw the environment as a resource to be managed, its elements controlled to support the Anunnaki's needs. His mastery over storms was both a blessing and a weapon, used to regulate the Earth's climate and punish those who defied him. When the rivers overflowed or the winds grew fierce, mortals whispered prayers to Enlil, hoping to appease the god of storms. Yet, their prayers often went unanswered, for Enlil was not a deity swayed by human pleas. His justice was impartial, his decisions unyielding. As time passed, humanity adapted to Enlil's rule. They learned to navigate the demands of their divine masters, building societies that mirrored the order of the Anunnaki Council. Laws were established, governing their interactions and ensuring their productivity. These laws, inspired by Enlil's commands, became the foundation of civilization, shaping the way humans lived and worked. For Enlil, this was the fulfillment of his vision, a world governed by discipline and structure. Yet, beneath this veneer of order, tensions simmered. The humans, though obedient, harbored resentment toward their divine overseers. They longed for freedom, for a life unburdened by the demands of the gods. This growing discontent did not escape Enlil's notice, and it fueled his resolve to maintain control. To him, humanity's desires were secondary to the greater good. "They may dream of freedom," he remarked to the council, "but dreams are fleeting. Order is eternal." Enlil's reign as the divine commander was a testament to his power and determination. He shaped humanity's destiny, creating a world that reflected the Anunnaki's purpose. Yet, his methods were not without consequences. The seeds of rebellion had been sown, and the storm that would soon engulf the world began to gather strength. Enlil's watchful gaze never faltered as humanity continued to multiply and spread across the earth. What had once been a manageable workforce, diligently toiling for the Anunnaki, had grown into a burgeoning civilization. Their numbers swelled, their voices louder, and their presence increasingly intrusive. Enlil, ever the enforcer of divine order, began to view humanity's growth not as a blessing but as a threat. The mortals, no longer content with their subservient roles, began to deviate from the path Enlil had set for them. They indulged in distractions, their villages became noisy and chaotic, and their offerings to the gods diminished in both frequency and quality. To Enlil, this was nothing short of an affront to the divine order. The harmonious balance he had worked so tirelessly to maintain now seemed precariously close to unraveling. In a fateful meeting of the Anunnaki Council, Enlil voiced his growing concerns. "They have forgotten their purpose," he declared, his voice filled with both frustration and resolve. "Their clamor disturbs the heavens, their insolence mocks our authority. If left unchecked, they will bring chaos to all we have built." Enki, as always, took a more measured stance. "They are learning, brother. Growth comes with mistakes. Surely you can see the potential in their progress." But Enlil's patience had worn thin. "Potential without discipline is a breeding ground for disorder," he countered. "If we allow this to continue, we risk the very balance of creation." Tensions within the council grew as the debate over humanity's fate intensified. The lesser gods, the Ijiji, whispered among themselves, divided in their loyalties. Many sympathized with humanity, having once shared their plight as laborers under the Anunnaki's rule. Others, however, sided with Enlil, seeing the mortals' growing defiance as a danger to divine authority. The tipping point came in the form of an event that shook even the celestial realms. A group of humans, emboldened by their numbers and weary of their servitude, dared to defy the Anunnaki openly. They ceased their labor, refusing to build the great temples that honored the gods. Their leader, a charismatic figure, declared, "We are not slaves to the heavens. Let us live free, as the earth intended." News of this rebellion reached Enlil swiftly, and his response was as swift as it was decisive. Summoning the full force of his power, Enlil unleashed a storm upon the rebellious settlement. The winds howled like vengeful spirits, tearing apart homes and scattering the people like leaves. Torrential rains fell, flooding the land and leaving nothing but desolation in their wake. From his celestial perch, Enlil watched as the rebellion was crushed, his expression as unyielding as the storm itself. "Let this be a lesson," he proclaimed, "to all who forget their place." Yet, even as the storm subsided, Enlil could not ignore the uneasy whispers that followed. Among the Anunnaki, there were those who questioned the severity of his actions. Enki, in particular, was vocal in his dissent. "You speak of balance, yet your actions create destruction," he argued. "How can they learn if you offer them no chance to grow?" But Enlil remained steadfast. "They have overstepped their bounds," he replied. "Discipline is the cornerstone of order. Without it, there is only chaos." The rebellion and its aftermath marked a turning point in humanity's relationship with the gods. Fear of Enlil's wrath spread among the mortals, but so too did resentment. They continued their labor, but their hearts were heavy with anger and sorrow. The seeds of discontent had taken root, and they would soon grow into something far more dangerous. It was around this time that Enlil began to notice another troubling trend: humanity's unchecked growth. As their numbers increased, so too did their noise, their waste, and their disruptions. They encroached upon the sacred lands, their voices rising in a cacophony that reached even the heavens. To Enlil, this was an insult of the highest order, a violation of the natural harmony he had sworn to protect. Once again, he brought his concerns to the council. "Their numbers grow beyond control," he warned. "Their clamor disturbs the divine order, and their presence defile the sacred spaces. We must act before it is too late." While some among the council shared his concerns, others hesitated. Enki, ever the voice of compassion, argued for restraint. "We created them to serve, but they are more than that," he said. "Their growth is a sign of their resilience, their will to thrive. Surely we can guide them without resorting to destruction." But Enlil's mind was already set. To him, humanity's growth was not a testament to their resilience, but a threat to the delicate balance of creation. He saw their defiance as a precursor to chaos, a danger that could not be ignored. "Guidance is futile if they refuse to listen," he replied. "Action must be taken to restore order, no matter the cost." It was during this period of unrest that Enlil began to conceive a plan, a drastic measure to reset the balance and rid the earth of its growing disorder. He envisioned a great cleansing, a flood that would sweep away the chaos and restore harmony to the world. To Enlil, this was not an act of vengeance, but one of necessity. The earth itself seemed to cry out for relief from the burden of humanity's excesses, and Enlil, as its steward, felt compelled to answer that call. The council was divided on the matter. While some supported Enlil's plan, others, led by Enki, opposed it vehemently. "This is not balance, brother," Enki argued. "This is annihilation. What purpose does it serve to destroy what we have created?" But Enlil remained unmoved. "Purpose lies in preservation," he declared. "If we allow this chaos to persist, we risk the destruction of all. The flood will cleanse the earth and restore the order we have lost." As the storm clouds began to gather, humanity remained blissfully unaware of the fate that loomed over them. They continued their lives, ignorant of the divine deliberations that would soon seal their destiny. And in the heavens, Enlil prepared to unleash a judgment so profound that it would forever alter the course of human history. As humanity continued its path of growth and defiance, Enlil's resolve solidified. The earth had become a cacophony of noise and disruption, its harmony shattered by the mortal's excesses. For Enlil, the path forward was clear. A great flood would cleanse the earth of its transgressions, resetting the balance and purging the chaos that humanity had brought into the world. In the divine council, Enlil presented his plan with unyielding conviction. "The earth cries out under the weight of their defilement," he declared. "Their noise reaches the heavens. Their arrogance mocks the divine order. This cannot be allowed to continue." His words carried the weight of inevitability, and while some among the Anunnaki supported his proposal, others, led by Enki, were appalled. "This is not justice," Enki countered. "This is destruction, plain and simple. There must be another way." But Enlil would not be swayed. To him, the flood was not an act of vengeance but a necessary correction. "Justice is meaningless without order," he replied. "If humanity cannot be disciplined, they must be removed. The earth will endure without them, and we will build anew." With the council divided, Enlil moved forward with his plan, summoning the forces of nature to prepare for the great deluge. He commanded the winds to gather, the skies to darken, and the waters to rise. The earth itself seemed to respond to his call, its rivers swelling and its clouds thickening in anticipation. Yet, even as the flood took shape, Enki devised a plan of his own. Enki, ever the protector of humanity, could not bear to see his creation wiped away. In secret, he approached Ziusidra, a mortal man of great wisdom and devotion, chosen for his righteousness and unwavering faith. "The gods have decreed a flood," Enki warned, his voice heavy with sorrow. "It will sweep away all that you know, but I will guide you. Build an ark, strong enough to withstand the waters, and gather within it your family and all living things that can be saved." Ziusidra, though overwhelmed by the gravity of Enki's words, set to work immediately. With divine guidance, he constructed a vessel of immense strength, capable of weathering the storm to come. As the ark took shape, the skies grew darker, and the winds began to howl, a prelude to the chaos that would soon engulf the world. When the time came, Enlil unleashed the full force of his power. The heavens opened, and torrents of rain poured down, turning rivers into raging torrents and plains into vast seas. The winds screamed like vengeful spirits, tearing apart everything in their path. Villages were swallowed whole, their inhabitants swept away by the merciless tide. Mountains, once towering symbols of stability, were submerged beneath the rising waters. The earth became an ocean, vast and unyielding, with no sign of the life that had once flourished upon it. From his celestial throne, Enlil watched as the flood unfolded, his expression as impassive as the storm he had summoned. To him, this was a necessary act, a cleansing of the earth that would restore the balance the Anunnaki had sought to maintain. Yet, beneath his stern demeanor, there was a flicker of something deeper, perhaps regret, or perhaps the weight of the responsibility he bore as the divine judge. As the floodwaters raged, Ziusidra and his family huddled within the ark, their prayers mingling with the roar of the storm. For days and nights, the waters churned, carrying the ark across the endless expanse. Inside, the animals stirred restlessly, their instincts sensing the magnitude of the destruction outside. Yet, Enki's guidance proved true, and the ark remained steadfast, a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. When the storm finally subsided and the waters began to recede, the ark came to rest upon a mountain. Ziusidra stepped out into a world transformed, a barren, desolate landscape that bore little resemblance to the earth he had known. Yet, amidst the destruction, there was also a sense of renewal. The air was crisp, the skies clear, and the land seemed to hold the promise of a new beginning. In the heavens, Enlil's gaze turned toward the ark, his expression darkening as he realized what had transpired. "You defied the will of the council," he said to Enki during their next meeting. "You undermined the balance I sought to restore." But Enki stood firm. "I preserved what was worth saving," he replied. "You sought to destroy, but I chose to create." That is the difference between us." The confrontation between the two brothers was fierce, their voices echoing through the celestial halls. Yet, amidst their discord, the other gods intervened, urging reconciliation. "The flood has passed," one of the Anunnaki said. "Let us now focus on rebuilding, rather than dwelling on what has been lost." Reluctantly, Enlil agreed, though the rift between him and Enki remained. As humanity began to rebuild, their relationship with the gods was forever changed. The flood, a cataclysmic event that had reshaped the earth, became a central part of their collective memory. They told stories of the divine wrath that had nearly wiped them out, stories that echoed through generations and found their way into the myths and legends of countless cultures. For Enlil, the flood was both a triumph and a tragedy. He had succeeded in restoring the balance he so fiercely protected, but at what cost? The destruction weighed heavily on him, a reminder of the burden he bore as the divine judge. Yet, he remained resolute in his belief that his actions were necessary, a testament to his unwavering commitment to order. The Great Flood marked a turning point in the history of the Anunnaki and humanity. It was a moment of profound loss, but also one of renewal, a reminder of the fragile balance between creation and destruction, and the power of the gods who held that balance in their hands. The aftermath of the Great Flood brought a haunting stillness to the earth, its silence a stark contrast to the chaos that had preceded it. Enlil stood at the pinnacle of his authority, the storm-bringer whose judgment had reshaped the world. Yet, as the waters receded and the scars of the deluge became visible, questions lingered, not just among mortals, but within Enlil himself. For humanity, survival came at a steep cost. Those who emerged from the Ark, guided by Enki's forbidden intervention, faced a barren landscape, stripped of its former vitality. They began the arduous task of rebuilding, their gratitude to the gods tempered by a lingering fear of their wrath. Tales of Enlil's stormy judgment spread quickly, immortalizing him as both savior and destroyer, a figure whose power was as awe-inspiring as it was terrifying. In the heavens, the Anunnaki gathered to assess the results of Enlil's decision. The flood had achieved its intended purpose. Humanity's unchecked growth was halted, their rebellion quelled, and the balance restored. Yet, the cost of this judgment weighed heavily on the divine council. What have we truly gained from this destruction? Enki questioned, his tone both sorrowful and defiant. Is this balance, or is it fear that keeps them in line? Enlil's response was measured, yet firm. The noise has ceased, he said. The earth breathes once more. This was not an act of cruelty but of necessity. The chaos they brought threatened all we have built. His words were resolute, but within him stirred an unease he could not entirely suppress. The cries of humanity, drowned in the storm's fury, echoed faintly in his mind, a reminder of the lives lost in the name of order. The rift between Enlil and Enki deepened in the flood's wake, their opposing philosophies clashing more sharply than ever. Enki's compassion for humanity led him to defy the council, and though his actions saved a remnant of the mortal race, they also challenged Enlil's authority. "You undermine the very laws that bind us," Enlil told his brother during one particularly heated exchange. "Your defiance risks not just our unity but the order of creation itself." "And what is creation without compassion?" Enki countered. "You see them as tools, but I see them as more. They are capable of learning, of growth. If we do not guide them, we doom them to repeat the same mistakes." Their arguments reverberated through the celestial halls, a reflection of the broader tensions within the Anunnaki Council. As humanity rebuilt, they turned to the gods with a mix of reverence and trepidation. Their ziggurats rose once more, offering prayers and sacrifices to appease the divine powers. Yet, the relationship between mortals and their creators was irrevocably altered. The flood had shown humanity both the gods' immense power and their capacity for destruction. For many, worship became a necessity born of fear rather than devotion. Enlil, from his vantage point in the heavens, observed this shift with a mix of satisfaction and unease. The balance had been restored, but the cost weighed heavily on him. He found himself reflecting on the duality of his role as judge and enforcer. Was it truly his duty to punish without question? Or was there room for mercy within the framework of order? These questions lingered, though he rarely voiced them, even among the other Anunnaki. The mortals, for their part, began to immortalize Enlil in their myths and legends. Stories of his stormy wrath spread far and wide, painting him as a god of immense power and unwavering discipline. Yet, these tales also hinted at his complexity, a deity who carried the burden of judgment, whose actions, though harsh, were driven by a desire to preserve the greater good. For Enlil, these stories were a reflection of the delicate balance he sought to maintain. He understood that his role required him to make difficult decisions, to prioritize order over emotion. Yet, he could not entirely escape the weight of his choices. The flood had not just reshaped the earth. It had reshaped him, forcing him to confront the consequences of his authority in ways he had not anticipated. Among the Anunnaki, whispers of discontent lingered. Some questioned the wisdom of Enlil's judgment, while others saw the flood as a necessary act of preservation. The council, though unified in its purpose, was divided in its interpretations of justice. Enlil's role as the enforcer became a point of contention, his strict adherence to order seen by some as inflexible, even tyrannical. Yet, despite these tensions, Enlil remained steadfast. He saw himself as a protector, not just of the Anunnaki but of the cosmic balance that governed all existence. To him, the flood was a reminder of the price that must sometimes be paid to maintain harmony. "Order is not without sacrifice," he remarked during a rare moment of introspection. "But without it, there is only chaos." As time passed, the scars of the flood began to heal, both on Earth and within the Anunnaki Council. Humanity, resilient as ever, adapted to their new reality, their reverence for the gods tempered by the knowledge of their fallibility. The mortals' rebuilding efforts became a testament to their endurance, their capacity to rise from the ashes of destruction and forge a new path. For Enlil, this resilience was both a source of pride and a reminder of his role as a divine judge. He understood that his actions, though often harsh, were guided by a greater purpose. Yet, the flood remained a pivotal moment in his existence, a turning point that underscored the complexities of his role and the weight of his decisions. The judge's reflection is not one of regret but of contemplation, a recognition of the delicate balance between justice and mercy, between order and chaos. Enlil's journey as a commander and judge is one of contrasts, a testament to the enduring struggle between power and responsibility, and the choices that define the course of history. As time unfolded, the story of Enlil became more than a tale of storms and judgment. It became a cornerstone of humanity's understanding of divine authority and the fragile balance between power and responsibility. Across generations, mortals told and retold the events of the Great Flood and the god who had summoned it. Enlil, the commander and judge, emerged as a symbol of ultimate authority, revered, feared, and debated by those who sought to comprehend his role in their existence. The flood, while devastating, left an indelible mark on the cultural memory of humanity. For the survivors and their descendants, it was a testament to both the wrath of the gods and the resilience of mortals. The ziggurats, once symbols of divine subjugation, became sacred monuments where humans sought to connect with their creators. In their prayers, they addressed Enlil with a mixture of reverence and caution, recognizing his power to both nurture and destroy. These tales spread far beyond the boundaries of the Anunnaki's direct influence, evolving into myths and legends that transcended time and geography. Among the most enduring of these narratives was the story of a great flood, echoed in the epics of Mesopotamia, the Bible's account of Noah, and other cultural traditions. Enlil's name may not always have been spoken, but his presence was felt in every story of divine judgment and salvation. For Enlil, this legacy was both a burden and a vindication. From his celestial vantage point, he observed how humanity grappled with the lessons of the flood, their reverence for the gods tempered by an awareness of their vulnerability. Mortals learned to balance their ambitions with humility, to temper their growth with respect for the natural world and the divine forces that governed it. In many ways, this was the outcome Enlil had envisioned, a world in balance shaped by the enduring memory of his judgment. Yet, the legacy of the flood was not without its complexities. Among the Anunnaki, Enlil's actions remained a source of debate. Some viewed him as a guardian of cosmic order, a deity who had done what was necessary to preserve the balance. Others saw him as a tyrant, whose rigidity had led to unnecessary destruction. These conflicting views shaped the Anunnaki's own understanding of their role in creation, prompting them to re-evaluate their relationship with humanity. Enki, in particular, remained a vocal critic of Enlil's methods. "You call it balance," he argued during a council meeting, "but at what cost? We are creators, not destroyers. The flood may have restored order, but it also sowed fear and resentment. Is that the legacy we wish to leave behind?" Enlil, unshaken, replied, "Fear and reverence are two sides of the same coin. They remind mortals of their place within the grand design. Without it, chaos reigns." This philosophical divide between Enlil and Enki came to define their relationship and, by extension, the relationship between the Anunnaki and humanity. While Enlil emphasized discipline and structure, Enki advocated for compassion and growth. These opposing perspectives created a dynamic tension that shaped the evolution of human civilization as mortals sought to navigate the duality of their divine overseers. As humanity rebuilt, they carried forward the lessons of the flood in ways that reflected their understanding of Enlil's teachings. Laws and governance became central to their societies, modeled after the strict hierarchies and rules established by the Anunnaki. Justice systems emerged, often echoing Enlil's emphasis on discipline and accountability. Yet, these systems also bore traces of Enki's influence, incorporating elements of mercy and rehabilitation. The ziggurats, too, evolved in their significance. Initially constructed as symbols of servitude, they became centers of culture and worship, places where mortals sought to honor the gods and seek their favor. The rituals performed within these towering structures reflected humanity's dual perception of Enlil, as a protector to be revered and a judge to be appeased. Offerings were made, prayers were chanted, and festivals were held in his name, all aimed at maintaining the delicate balance he represented. Over time, the memory of Enlil became intertwined with broader cultural and spiritual narratives. His story, once specific to the Anunnaki and their direct interactions with humanity, became part of the universal human experience. The themes of judgment, order, and renewal resonated across cultures, finding expression in stories of gods, kings, and heroes who upheld justice and confronted chaos. For Enlil, this legacy was a reflection of his role as a divine judge. He understood that his actions, though often harsh, were necessary to uphold the balance of creation. Yet, he also recognized the complexities of his position, the fine line between justice and tyranny, between protection and destruction. These contradictions defined him, not as a figure of perfection, but as a god whose decisions carried profound consequences. In the celestial realm, Enlil's name remained a symbol of authority. Among the Anunnaki, he was respected for his unwavering commitment to order, even as his methods were questioned. Among humanity, he was both a figure of awe and a reminder of the god's immense power. His story, passed down through generations, became a testament to the enduring struggle between discipline and compassion, between control and freedom. As the centuries passed, the direct influence of the Anunnaki waned, but their legacy endured. Enlil's story, in particular, continued to shape humanity's understanding of justice and leadership. His actions, though rooted in the ancient past, held lessons that resonated in every age. A reminder of the delicate balance between power and responsibility, and the choices that define the fate of worlds. The legacy of Enlil is one of contrasts, a testament to the complexities of divine judgment and the enduring impact of the decisions that shape history. It is a story that challenges us to reflect on the nature of power, the meaning of justice, and the responsibilities that come with authority. For in the tale of Enlil, the commander and judge, we find not just the story of a god, but the story of humanity itself. The story of Enlil, the commander and judge, invites us to reflect on the nature of power, justice, and the fine line between order and destruction. His actions shaped humanity's destiny, leaving behind a legacy that continues to resonate through myths, legends, and cultures worldwide. But what do you think of Enlil's choices? Was he the righteous hand of justice, enforcing divine balance, or a tyrant whose rigidity caused untold suffering? Does his story teach us to value order at any cost? Or does it remind us that compassion must temper power? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you see Enlil as a protector or a destroyer? Share your opinion in the comments below. If you were captivated by this tale, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more explorations into the ancient secrets of the Anunnaki, and turn on notifications to stay updated on future stories. Join us as we uncover the mysteries of the past and the lessons they hold for humanity's future. Together, let's explore the legacy of the gods who once walked among us.